Hey everyone, I'm Nikki Vegan, and in today's episode of Eat Kindly with me, we're going to be prepping not one, not two, but 3 Scandinavian-inspired vegan sandwiches. In a lot of Scandinavian countries, a sandwich is kind of known as smørrebrød, which is usually an open-faced style sandwich, meaning it's one piece of bread with stuff on top rather than 2 pieces of bread with stuff in the middle. And these are really quick and easy to make and something that you will find all over Norway and other Scandinavian countries. To pronounce smørrebrød, you want to say smør. It literally means butter, bread, or buttered bread. And sometimes these kinds of sandwiches really are that simple, just a piece of bread, a thin layer of butter, and then something like a slice of tomato, maybe some cucumbers. But they can also be really fancy and ornate and beautiful with lots of vibrant colors and cool toppings and flavor combinations. And today I'm going to show you everything from my favorite simple family recipe to a really cool veganized version using vegan caviar. Alright, so the first smørrebrød that we're going to make today is my fish-free Scandinavian-style smoked roast spread. We're going to do a thin layer of that on some toasted bread, top it with cucumbers and a little dill, call it a day. So the first thing we're going to need is 1 cup of vegan mayo. And I'm just going to put this directly into a blender. The mayo is going to create a nice creamy base for this. Then we're going to need 2.5 tablespoons of our vegan caviar, or seaweed pearls, and it is so crazy how much it really does look like caviar. It smells fishy because it's made from algae from the ocean, but it's so much more sustainable. Next, we'll add a little bit of tang with some white rice vinegar. I like to use this just to add a little bit of brightness, and we're gonna need 1.5 teaspoons of vinegar, just straight into the blender as well. Next, we'll add lots of flavor with our seasonings. We're gonna need 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, and one of the key ingredients here is going to be smoked paprika. Caviar on its own is fishy and salty, but it's not smoky. So we're gonna get that with 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika. And then we're gonna need 1 teaspoon of sugar. This is not gonna make it sweet by any means, but because we have a lot of salty and we have some smoky, it's nice to balance it out with just a touch of sweetness. And then I like to add 2 teaspoons of water just because I feel like it blends a little bit better that way. And then I'll just put the lid on and blend this up. And usually I just pulse it a few times and then pause, scrape down the sides of the blender, and then blend until it's incorporated. It's not going to be perfectly smooth. You're still going to see the caviar all throughout, and then basically your finished product will be nice and creamy. So I'm just going to dollop this onto a nice piece of bread. I like to use sourdough for this one, but it's also really good on whole grain bread, and I toast it up, and then usually you do kind of like a thin layer of this, but you can add as much as you want. I tend to go a little heavier. Then in my family, we always topped this with cucumber slices, and cucumbers are a really common ingredient in Norway. They're on sandwiches a lot, but they're also used as a side dish. But for this, I'm just gonna take some cucumbers. So then I'll just go ahead and decorate the top. Okay, so I like a lot of cucumbers. You could do however many you want. It's an everyday sandwich. I put a thin layer of the spread, top it with cucumbers, call it a day, and I usually have 2 or 3 slices like this. Today I'm gonna make it a little bit prettier with some fresh dill, also really common in Norway, and some black pepper as well. We use this a lot in Norwegian cooking, especially on potatoes and stuff like that. So this sandwich is definitely gonna be unusual. If you've never had a smoked roast spread before or an open-faced sandwich, this will definitely be a unique experience. It's going to be salty and smoky. It's gonna be fishy, but also creamy, kind of crunchy, refreshing cucumbers, the really savory spread, and then the toasted bread on the bottom. It's just layers of deliciousness. So I really hope that you guys enjoy. So good. Next up, we'll be making my cheese and apple Crispbreads. It's the perfect combination of crunchy, creamy, sweet. So the first thing that we're gonna need is a crisp bread, or sometimes it's known as knäckebröd or a cracker. Honestly, they're a little dry. On their own, they're kind of just very simple, plain crackers, but you can definitely make this exact same sandwich with bread, rye bread, toast, whatever you like. So I'm gonna take a WASA cracker. I usually have about 3 or 4 of these if I'm just making for myself. And then traditionally, they would probably do a thin layer of butter on top. Now you could do vegan butter. I'm actually gonna up the flavor a little bit with some mustard. I've got yellow mustard here today. I usually do about 1 teaspoon. You can kind of just do, think looks good, but I think a nice teaspoon gives you a nice kind of even layer. And then I'm gonna add some vegan cheese. I personally like to use a plant-based Gouda for this. You could also do a cheddar cheese, that would work really well. So what I do is I actually just break it in half, and that way I have these 2 rectangular sized pieces that fit perfectly on top of my WASA cracker. This right here on its own, sometimes I stop there, I make a couple of these, and that is my delicious lunch. But I also like to add some apple, and I'm just going to slice some thin slices. Sometimes I do cucumbers or pickle slices too if you wanted to go more of a savory route, but the apple and cheese is a really common combination, and my mom's been making me this since I was a little kid. And you guys, that's it. I know, it's so simple, you're gonna think I'm crazy. That sweet, refreshing, crunchy apple, the creamy cheese, that really, really nicely spiced kind of salted mustard, and then the crispy, crunchy bread on the bottom, or the crisp bread on the bottom. It's so good. You have to try this. I saved my new favorite smørrebrød recipe for last, and this is my obsession right now. I cannot get enough. It is so delicious and flavorful. This is a vegan version and kind of a creative take on something they do have a lot of there, which is a smørrebrød open-faced sandwich that has hard-boiled egg on top or scrambled eggs on top. I decided to get that same kind of texture that you get from a hard-boiled egg from a boiled potato, and we're gonna add lots of spices and seasoning to make this a delicious sandwich. Like, trust me, it is so delicious. So you're gonna need 2 medium-sized red skin potatoes, and I just boil them whole like this and then allow them to cool completely. Go ahead and salt the water with a pinch of salt when you're boiling it, and then let this cool completely. And once you have cooled it completely, you can really easily take a standard spoon and just kind of peel off the skin that way. Now, you can definitely peel the potato before you boil it if you want, but I actually find this method so much easier, and it's really easy to get just the skin off and not waste the potato. I hate peeling potatoes, but this is kind of fun. And once the skin is off, I just slice this into 1/4-inch slices and set that aside. All right, so now we're gonna make the sauce, and this is a really, really flavorful sauce that not only works as a spread, but it also helps to season the potato. And it starts with 6 tablespoons of vegan mayo. I just put that directly into a bowl. And then again with my yellow mustard, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon. And you're going to need 2 tablespoons of finely chopped pickles. You wanna make sure that it's nice and fine, which is another reason why using relish is an easy step, because it's already chopped up. So then I'm just gonna add the diced pickles directly into the bowl. 1/2 teaspoon of dried dill for this. And then we're gonna add paprika. Now, you don't need a lot of this. I usually do a couple pinches, like 4 pinches, which ends up being around 1/8 teaspoon. And this is gonna add, again, just a little bit of background flavor. Then finally, we're gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, and I do about 6 to 8 grinds of fresh black pepper. Usually I will go ahead and mix this together and then taste it at this point. You might wanna add a little bit more salt and pepper. You might wanna add some more pickles, more dill, but generally this is going to be a little bit saltier at this stage than you think it should be, and that's okay, that's what we want. So then I'm just gonna take a piece of toasted bread. Again, I have sourdough, but whole wheat, rye, or even a knäckebröd would work really well. What I do is I just put on a thin-ish layer. This is a really nice spread because it's nice and rich and creamy, and it works as a great base for the potatoes. So once that is on my bread, I go ahead and I layer on my potato slices. Who needs a hard-boiled egg? We've got potatoes. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add a little dill on top, some cucumbers, some paprika and black pepper. This really helps to just make sure that everything is nice and well seasoned, and this really just makes it kind of fresh and gives it a nice freshness. Okay, so I'm just cutting a little piece so it's easier to eat, because this one is a very large piece, but yum. This is Nikki Vegan for Live Kindly. Thank you for watching today. Let us know which one of these sandwiches you are excited to try first in the comments, and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification, and I will see you in a video soon. Bye guys.